I am running to become your 2013-2014 Vice President. I want to be the Vice President of the Black Engineer Society because as a member since the fall of my freshman year, I've seen its progression, and I know that it can be an integral part of its continued growth. I've shown my commitment to this organization by going above and beyond what is required of me. Currently, as a public relations chair, my tasks include sending emails, making flyers, and managing the Facebook and Twitter accounts, but I've also attended many torch sessions, the Fall Zone Summit, the NSBE Alumni Mixer, various fundraising events, NSBE conferences, and I'm a consistent face in the lounge. As a member of the E-Board, I was really excited to witness and be a part of the growth we've experienced this academic year. I'm glad that this year we did a lot regarding increasing membership, and my vision moving forward as a pre-professional organization is to live out every part of the mission. My two specific goals to accomplish my vision for this upcoming year is to, one, work closely with the programs chair and under her the academic excellence chair to spearhead more academically driven programs and to establish the NSBE retention program at the University of Maryland. With our own version of NSBE, I want us to have a medium that will provide us a fun and competitive way to collect GPA data. Two, I want to again work closely with the programs chair to establish more service programs. I want our chapter to be involved in programs such as a Walk for Education, Relay for Life, camp food drives, and more. By accomplishing these goals, our chapter will completely encompass the mission and become more well-rounded. I truly love this organization, and I'm committed to its future growth. I have large goals and high standards for this organization, and with me as Vice President, I can be the difference between Regional Large Chapter of the Year and National Large Chapter of the Year. Vote for me, Tony Davis.
A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. First of all, I would like to admit that I was not the best academic excellence chair for the past year. With that said, I apologize. But being on the executive board for the past year, I have definitely learned from my mistakes. I learned how the board works, all its functions, and I learned what needs to be fixed. Accountability is something that is left when responsibility has been subtracted. Throughout the past year, the word accountable and words derived from it have been thrown around ever so often. If we make sure that all the members of the executive board knows their duties and each other's duties, there will be no problems. With the help of the elected secretary, I will make sure all assigned tasks are done. Reinventing the wheel is not a sin. Coming up with ideas that are deemed new are great, but I would heavily suggest that you do not try to put a new set of tires and rims on your wheels without fixing or replacing the spokes. Before all of these new ideas and visions are implemented, we must fix those broken spokes that we currently have. Since the position of Vice President is essentially the manager of the E-Board, my ideas are pertinent to the functionality of the E-Board. A few of my ideas include mandatory office hours, a small fee for late monthly reports, making sure that the information from the national and regional level trickles down to the members. Chapter GPA should equal apex, updating the outdated constitution, pushing for conference and zone summit attendance, and the dissolution of the hierarchy field within BES. Success is what you do for yourself. Greatness is what you do for other people. If you want someone to have your best interest in mind, whether you're an active member, E-Board member, advisor, or graduate student, I'm here for you. Strengthen me, give me responsibility, and help me be great. Vote for Ann Lamont Banks for Vice President.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Yeni. I am running to be your Vice President for the 2013-2014 school year. I joined BES halfway through the fall semester of my sophomore year. Initially, I only identified with the Black aspect of the name, but wondered how I, as a biology major, would fit into an organization I thought was meant for engineers. However, I came to my first GBM, and I learned that BES was also meant for STEM-related majors. Through my continual involvement in BES, I came to notice one more important thing that made me want to continue being a member. This was that BES is a family. This is what I would like to show others that do not know about our organization. However, as a family, we can become stronger and more unified. I first plan to better implement this aspect of family in the BES Executive Board. As VP, one of my duties would be to run and manage the Executive Board. If our Executive Board cannot be a team, how can we instill that team or family quality into the organization as a whole? I come to you with a plan to create an environment for the E-Board to be free and comfortable with each other. Through this avenue, we can make better and stronger decisions and positively impact BES and our surrounding community. Also, in order for our family to grow and advance, I believe that communication is key. I will focus on strengthening communication between Executive Board members, committees, and BES general members. We also need to build up communication with on-campus students and find newer ways to let others know about BES. This is something I believe the E-Board as a whole should strive to make better. The final focus is member retention. Yes, we have recruited newer members, and now it's time to focus on keeping these members, not just through simple incentives such as pizza and GBMs. Yes, that is a plus, but we need to find new ways to make sure the members we recruit will remain and be active within BES. We need to keep BES not only in our resumes, but also in our hearts as well. I want you all to understand and know that I can and I will achieve these goals that I propose. However, I cannot do it alone. I need my BES family to join me on this journey in unifying BES and making it better than it was yesterday. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We got James first because he's the president. Help me out here, guys.
Jacob was next.
All right, Jacob.
Thank you.
Will, Akil. I don't know who this is. Vernon, Whitney. I'm not sure. Okay. So yes, that's the order. You guys remember.
Right now.
As Vice President, as you all have mentioned, it is to make sure that the executive board is copacetic. A lot of you all said that you either one didn't do the best you could have, or just came in early, or could have done more for the task for in your positions. How did you learn from mistakes and or learn to be able to be ready for this vice president job? And what do you plan to do to make sure that you do the vice president job to the best of your ability?
Well, for those of you who were here last year when Marlon was the public relations chair, you've seen that there's been a drastic difference in the way media or the way information is relayed to the members. And so I made a really strong effort to be like, okay, I want to get emails out in a timely manner, work on the Facebook page, the Twitter page. Like, there's always more I could have done, but I took a bigger step from where it was before, and that's what I plan to do as vice president. Like, I plan to see what was already done. I'm gonna try to implement that, but I'm also gonna have like new ideas, like what I was saying, NSBE or our own version of NSBE is something that I want to take on as vice president, but also like
So although unlike these two, I'm not a member of the E-Board, but I do have the experience. As a freshman, I joined RHA, and from there, I've been able to see how things work in terms of planning events and carrying these events out. And also, like I said in my speech, my main focus is keeping the BES family, and I believe that starts with the executive board, and that starts with making sure that we are able to communicate properly, and with the use of family and being able to bond together and being able to talk about things other than BES business. I feel like we can come together, and when we can come together in a serious time and make serious decisions for BES that will positively move us forward.
For me, coming into the position of academic excellence chair, I was kind of misleaded, I guess. Unfortunately, the previous academic excellence chair told me that BES was not what you think it's going to be. So coming in at the transition meeting, I was already expecting like, wait, is this really what I really want to get into? So going forward with that, with like creating the test bank was down. I don't have that much technical knowledge, so I couldn't actually help the test bank. As well as like study jams, I wasn't really sure with like how to plan events or what method to go through. So I learned from my mistakes there. But my mistakes aren't limited to BES. I have experience in other e-boards as well. I work with other people for Black Honors Caucus, and I serve as treasurer. So learning the SGA's funding process, that was another mistake. Like, I came into the position expecting that it was going to be okay, but then I had to go to these different meetings around campus. So I learned from that. Also, I've learned working with adults, actually, with my family reunion planning committee. I serve as secretary, so I send out the emails. I created Facebook pages. I always relay information back to me and the chairman. So working with adults, that's a whole different background, but like I have so much experience with working with other people. So with moving on to the next year as vice president, I feel like I am able to communicate with people on the e-board. I will not cut them any slack. Like I mean, well, I have to cut them slack because when I served as chair of academic excellence, I had my rough patches as well. But this year, I have definitely helped other people more than myself. So I feel like I'm the best candidate for vice president because I went out my way in the communication zone. I helped with the newsletter. I went out of my way helping with other programs. I went to the Zone Summit learning about NSBE business for the first time, and I've been here for 2 years. So I want to make sure all those mistakes that I've ran into, I want to make sure that nobody else on the e-board has to run into those mistakes.
So a lot of the other candidates today have been talking about the programs that they want to implement, and a lot of that has been going through academic excellence. I'm just wondering how you, as vice president, want to or would be able to manage which programs go through and trying to keep everybody's ideas plausible.
Okay, first I believe that we should start with the goal, with our main goal as the exec board. From all these different ideas that we hear, we should be able to pick at least the top 3 and figure out these are ideas that the e-board as a whole should strive to work to make actually happen. So begin with that, and then if we can actually make sure those 3 things are met and complete those 3 programs, I feel like then we can join in other incentives from each e-board member and see what else we can add in to have more options in terms of programming.
I know for me, I focused on it in my speech. I want to make sure that all the problems that we had last year are fixed before we go into making new programs and new ideas. So I want to make sure these programs that we have now are as close to perfect as possible before we move on to making these adjustments. So like study jams will be more frequent. The lounge, maybe some times in there, it gets too social. I want to have like specific hours where people can go in to study, only to study, not, chill and stuff. But like there is time outside of there to do that. But I want to make sure people have enough time to focus on the academics first and then focus on the other programs.
First of all, I think it's good that everybody has academics as a focus. So if we have the same focus, same goal, we have to decide, meet or whatever, and to communicate about which way we think will implement the goal the best. So I feel like the focus is the good part about it. And yeah, I think it's just about communication with the people, the other people on the e-board about like what programs we want to do, what programs we think, like maybe the study jams didn't work, or maybe we need to have them more structured. Maybe we need someone to lead the study jams instead of just having a room where you can study. So we can talk about what happened before, what we can improve on it, or if maybe we need to scrap some ideas if they're not working.
All right. This is a sort of a loaded question, but if you're ready. As far as being second in command to the chair, or second in command to the president, my fault, and working on Michael L. Cherry, managing the board, and making sure that the board is on their monthly reports, where would you rank that from 1 to 4 as your top priority to your least priority? Okay, so the 4 things that, as for vice president, where would you rank it on priority? So that be serving second to the president, making sure the board is doing what they need to do, Michael L. Cherry, and making sure monthly reports are being sent out to their counterparts, regional counterparts.
Board, monthly reports.
President.
Oh, board.
No.
Board is together.
No,
He's
he's listening.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
So you said,
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
I think board is the first thing. Michael L. Cherry is seasonal, so it's not, you don't have that much focus on it, but what are the other 2 again?
Also, monthly reports and
Second
in command to the president.
So, board, monthly reports, second in command, Michael L. Cherry.
That's how you
Okay, so because like the board function, if any part of the semester where the board just gives up, that's never good. Monthly reports is definitely good for us if we want some type of national recognition, in which a lot of our members actually want that. And second to command to the president, I feel like that's important, but I could kind of do that if I'm working with the board, because in order to be president, you have to make sure you're disciplinary to the other people on the board. So, I mean, I guess that goes hand in hand. And the micro charity is seasonal, like I said, so that much, it doesn't, I mean, it has that much focus later, like in maybe like winter and the spring, but it doesn't have that much focus in the fall. Like, we need to make sure the board is best.
One more time.
Okay. Being second to the president, making sure monthly reports on time, Michael L. Cherry, and managing the board.
I believe managing the board is my first priority. Being second to the president is my second priority. Michael Cherry is my third priority, and last priority is monthly reports. Like I put monthly reports last because I believe we have to make sure our chapter is doing right before we need the national recognition or whatever, recognition. Like, we have to focus only on the chapter level first. We have to make sure everything's good on that level. And then the board, of course, nothing effective can be done if the board isn't working correctly. So I believe that's our #1 priority or whatever. So we can do all the ideas we have. We need the board to be working, having communication open and whatnot. The second to the president and helping him. She's gonna be stressed or whatever with or maybe stressed with all this task she has to do. So being able to help her take some of the load off, I think that's important. And micro charity is something is important to us, and like Abisola, she tried really hard to get as many people to apply this year or whatever. People just weren't applying, and I feel like we need to, like, I don't know, we still need to like increase the knowledge about that scholarship or whatever. But like, in all, chapter first, national later.
My first obligation would be to the board, of course. I believe that if we have a good board, if I'm able to manage the board in the right direction, we can show our members that we have a strong board. This will equal a strong organization. Secondly would be monthly reports. We need to have that communication. Yes, we have to focus on our chapter level, but we also need to have the communication with the national level, with the regional level, and make sure whatever we're doing here, they know about. Whatever help that we need, they will know that we need help, we need money, we need help. So thirdly, I would go with the Michael L. Cherry Scholarship. I believe there's a reason why we created the scholarship. Obviously, Michael L. Cherry was someone in BES that made a difference. So we need to, not just because it's seasonal does not mean we shouldn't start focusing in fall semester. Letting members know that we have the scholarship here for you. It's not a difficult scholarship to fill out. It's something that we really need to push for our members. There's a reason why it was made, and we really have to let people know that it's here and there's money here for you to use. Finally, I believe that being second in command to president, that's something that I've placed last because I know that our president can do her job, but never in any situation that she wouldn't be able to do her job. I feel like that I can be there as a guide or somebody who she can relate to and someone she can talk to and someone who can give her advice and help her if she does have any concerns or problems.